File code name, Tiny Tyrant. Category, Multiversal Anomaly, Unpredictable Chaos. This contingency almost feels like a joke. Almost. If it weren't for the cold reality that Stewie Griffin, a toddler in a world that seemingly rejects the laws of physics, has already constructed time machines, death rays, weather control devices, and interdimensional portals, I wouldn't even entertain it. But power, no matter how absurd its source, has to be accounted for. His world operates on its own set of shifting rules. Characters break reality with sight gags, causality bends when it suits the moment, and intelligence doesn't always align with physical capability. Yet Stewie manages to remain a constant. His intellect isn't exaggerated for comedic effect, it's genuine. He's created doomsday weapons, led military campaigns, and on more than one occasion, nearly conquered the world. And that means I have to take him seriously. Stewie is highly intelligent, but also emotionally unstable. His need for validation can be exploited. If a scenario can be created where he believes his goals have already been achieved, or that he's lost interest in them entirely, then intervention becomes unnecessary. One method: exploit his ego and intellect. By feeding him false intelligence, carefully manufactured data suggesting an even greater mind has already outmaneuvered him, Stewie's ambition could be redirected into a new, self-contained project. A fabricated villain, a false conspiracy, or even a staged, higher purpose might be enough to stall his destructive tendencies. If subtlety fails, the confrontational approach comes into play. Physically subduing a toddler isn't exactly a challenge, but that's not the point. The issue is getting close without triggering one of his countless security countermeasures, or his ability to escape into another dimension. The solution? Disrupt his reliance on technology. A high-frequency electromagnetic pulse deployed via Wayne Tech infiltration drone could shut down all of his active devices simultaneously. The moment his security fails, his shields drop, and his communications go dark, Stewie stops being a threat and starts being a tantrum-throwing child. Then, to keep it simple, I take away his toys. His lab is dismantled, his schematics confiscated, and his access to advanced technology severed. No gadgets, no escape, no world domination. If Stewie goes fully rogue, if he activates weapons of mass destruction, time travel devices, or interdimensional threats, then the gloves come off. In that case, the most effective approach is psychological warfare. Stewie has one true fear: his mother, Lois. A carefully programmed AI simulation of Lois, complete with projected presence, audio manipulation, and maternal guilt routines, would create enough hesitation in Stewie's mind to neutralize his aggression. Yes, I'm weaponizing mom guilt against a toddler, and it would work. If Stewie has to be permanently contained, a conventional cell won't suffice. Instead, containment would require placing him in a controlled environment designed to be indistinguishable from his everyday life. A fabricated simulation built inside a secure AI-managed construct could house Stewie indefinitely. He'd believe he was still operating in his world, still interacting with his family, still following his ambitions, without realizing he was in an isolated, monitored space. If a more direct approach is needed, there's always a tactical alliance with Brian. Brian, the closest thing Stewie has to a moral compass, could be persuaded to intervene. A carefully delivered warning, detailing the catastrophic consequences of Stewie's unchecked intellect, might be enough to turn him against his best friend. And Stewie, for all his intelligence, trusts Brian. A betrayal from Brian would shatter his confidence, and for someone whose power relies on his own belief in his superiority, that's an endgame scenario. Stewie Griffin, a baby genius, a self-proclaimed conqueror, and a genuine threat if left unchecked. He exists in a world that bends reality to comedic effect, yet his mind operates beyond the absurdity surrounding him. That makes him dangerous, but also manageable. Because for all his intellect, for all his ambition, he is still a child. A child who, deep down, wants validation, security, and control. Take that away from him, and he loses his edge. Of course, the real concern isn't just Stewie. It's his father. And if Peter Griffin ever decides to take things seriously, that contingency might be even more complicated. Until then, stay prepared. Because sometimes the most dangerous threats come in the most ridiculous packages.